First, the man who killed and ate a local mom has been sentenced to life in prison without parole. 38-year-old Gregory Scott Hale has pled guilty to first-degree murder in the death of 36-year-old Lisa Marie Hyder. The district attorney says Hyder's family would have supported the death penalty, but they didn't want Hale to be the center of attention, which is what he wanted. Hyde was from Bledsoe County. She met Hale, a self-identified Satan worshiper, in June and went with him to his parents' house in Coffee County. That's where he beheaded her, cut off her hands, and ate part of her body. When he tried to get a man to help him get rid of the body, that man contacted police.
Now to a developing story from Coffee County, Tennessee. A man pleads guilty to first-degree murder in the death of a woman from Dunlap. Gregory Scott Hale admitted to killing and dismembering the body of Lisa Marie Hyder of Dunlap in his Coffee County home in June of last year. Today, he was sentenced to life in prison without parole, but not before Hyder's husband, Charles, spoke to him in court.
And I told him, I said, I don't know why you took her from me and my father-in-law and my kids, but I forgive you. And God have mercy on your soul. And his head dropped to the table.
Coming up tonight, we'll hear from Lisa Marie's father, who is from Columbus, Ohio, although Hyder says he has forgiven Hale. At 11, find out why her father says he cannot.
I'm big on people having their own privacy and their own space, but when you begin to look at Facebook pages that are that just creepy, it makes me wonder, all those people that were liking his post, all those people that were making comments on his page, nobody had the guts to say, but man, are you really serious about this?
Yeah.
Where do we draw the line?
Right.
How do we know when it's just funny or when it's just a little sick or
you
it's going
should
to turn
know
into
when it's
something?
this extreme. You should know. When we talk about being a responsible citizen of social media, that's when you just got to trust your gut. When you see something like this, that's when you should alert something.
Well,
and I bet my life that this is not his first victim.
Well, that's
At 30-something years old, come on.
Interesting. Judy, go ahead.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. Who are the type of people who are going to be friends with this guy on Facebook? They're probably other like-minded individuals, possibly other Satan worshipers, and so they're not going to alert the media on this one. And when I was looking through his Facebook, I realized that his very first, one of his earliest posts was in 2011, and it was a song about cannibalism. So this is not a new belief for him. I was trying to see, like, was there a breaking point where he started to go this way? No.
Infatuation.
For as long as we've known this guy on social media, he's been this person.
He's 37. He looks like he's in his 50s. I mean, he looks really old and terrible.
This is, listen, there are dangerous people out there. They live next door to us. This woman, the woman that was killed, met this guy in a liquor store. Judy is absolutely right. The challenge of people in positions of authority, whether it is Facebook monitoring him or cops when you call them or mental health professionals predicting that this guy is as awful as we think he is, hard to do. Believe it or not, it's hard to do. But we can keep an eye on this guy. And we can learn from this story. Once again, there's something to be learned here. If you meet somebody you didn't know at a liquor store or out in public, you can look at their social media site and learn something about them. And if you think to yourself, I'm not so sure, or we got to keep an eye on this guy, get out of there. Get out of there.
We're hearing from the family of a murder victim who was dismembered and then eaten. Good evening. Thanks for watching News Channel 9 at 5:30. I'm Josh Rowe.
And I'm Latricia Thomas. We first told you about Lisa Marie Hyder's gruesome death yesterday. News Channel 9's Betsy Golden spoke with the victim's family today about Lisa's horrific murder, and she joins us now with what they said. Betsy.
Well, Latricia and Josh, 36-year-old Lisa Marie Hyder's family is trying to understand what happened to the daughter, wife, and mother they love. They demand justice, but first, they're sending a warning to the community. Elizabeth and David are the youngest of 6 children who will grow up without a mother. Lisa Hyder's father, Billy Poor, and husband, Charles Hyder, will raise the children in her absence.
I just don't know how I'm going to deal with it. I really don't.
Both still in shock, grieving, and trying to understand why Lisa is the victim of a horrific murder. Charles says he missed a call from Lisa around 2:30, but when he called her back, her cell phone was dead. He says Lisa visited the liquor store after making that call and that she had already been drinking. While there, she met 36-year-old Scott Hale.
She loved everybody. She was friendly with everybody. That's what I'm saying. She never met a stranger. I mean, she did. She really did. She trusted people with all her heart.
Hale offered her a ride to her friend's house, and she accepted, but she never made it. Investigators say Lisa was killed and dismembered at Hale's home. Then the killer admitted to eating parts of her body. Her hands and head were placed in one plastic bucket, her feet in another, her torso buried under a burn pile.
My daughter should not have been butchered and mangled the way she was. Justice needs to be done here. I want the death penalty, nothing less. Oh, God, I want to get this guy so bad, but I know I can't do it. God's going to handle him.
Lisa's father is using their family's nightmare to send a message to parents.
And these parents need to watch, and these kids need to watch. Don't trust people. Don't go by yourself.
And tonight, Lisa's 2 young children will call for their mother like they do every night before they sleep.
Can we call Mommy? Can we call Mommy? I do, but it don't do no good. And we tell them that she's with Jesus in heaven.
And Scott Hale was arrested on murder and corpse abuse charges. His bond is set at $1.5 million. His next appearance before a Coffee County judge will be June 23rd.
And turning now to the rest of today's top stories, a man murders a Dunlap woman in Coffee County, and the details of the crime are absolutely gruesome. Police say that man admitted to killing her, cutting off her head, hands, and feet, and then eating part of her corpse.
Tonight we are learning more about the suspect and his victim, but it is still not clear how they knew each other. News Channel 9's Natalie Genereski joins us now live from Dunlap with more on this disturbing crime. Natalie?
Kim, Calvin, good evening. We've been here in Dunlap all day. We started here at the Justice Center, combing through property records, police reports, trying to find out more about this victim, 36-year-old Lisa Marie Hyder. Now, we didn't find much, but we did find, just through word of mouth, talking to people, that she lived a couple miles down the road at a public housing complex. And what we found there, we talked to a couple people who knew her, and here's what they had to say about her. Neighbors at the Dunlap Garden apartment say Lisa Marie Hyder lived here in apartment 501, but now it's empty. That's because Hyder moved out this past Wednesday. Sheriff Ronnie Hitchcock says he didn't know much about her until a few weeks ago.
And about 2 or 3 weeks ago, the city answered a call at her residence in Dunlap, and they were by themselves, so one of my officers done backup with them. It was a sort of domestic type call with her and a Roger Harvey subject.
Harvey also lived in the apartment complex. We spoke to him on the phone, and he said the last he heard from Hyder was Saturday when she called him to come pick her up on Monteagle, but he refused. Off camera, her next door neighbor told us before Hyder moved out, she came over to give her a few things, but what she said to her still resonates. Hyder told her neighbor that where she was going, there was no coming back. 4 days later, she was murdered and dismembered at this home in Manchester. Her body parts found in buckets around the property, her torso buried in a burn pile.
Whenever I was a child, we would walk down through this road. We were always told to stay away from the house.
Police say her killer was this man, 37-year-old Gregory Scott Hale. The suspect, who police say admitted to the crime, has a Facebook page filled with dark images. Meanwhile, authorities are still trying to piece together how Hyder ended up in this deadly situation. We're back live now at the Justice Center in Sequatchie County. Gregory Scott Hale is being held in the Coffee County Jail on $1.5 million bond. He is charged tonight with first-degree murder and abuse of a corpse. He is scheduled to appear in court on June 23rd. For now, we're live in Dunlap. Natalie Genereski, News Channel 9.
Twisted murderer Gregory Scott Hale was obsessed with a serial killer called the Night Stalker. This twisted cannibal idolized a serial killer and was obsessed with satanic worship before he butchered a stranger after having sex with her. Gregory Scott Hale, 37, also posted sickening rants before he brutally murdered Lisa Hyder 3 years ago in Tennessee, USA. Crime author Ian Becker, who has studied the barbaric killing, said that Hale had become fascinated with the Night Stalker Richard Ramirez before he targeted Mrs. Hyder, Mirror Online reports. Ramirez went on a murderous spree in California in 1989 and was convicted of 13 murders, 5 attempted murders and 11 sexual assaults. Hale adored Ramirez, obsessively reading his manifesto and posted on Facebook when the killer died in 2014, "R.I.P. Night Stalker, wish I could have met you." A warped love of Satanism, weapons, venomous snakes and cannibalism was evidently in his blogs and pictures on Facebook. Disturbing comments from him included, "I hug the people I hate so I know how big to dig their hole in my backyard." If someone were to become a cannibal and eat a vegetarian, would the vegetarian taste like that fake soy meat? After being fired from a meat processing plant for taking home blood, bones and eyes of slaughtered animals, Hale was forced to move back with his parents. His sick fantasies led to murder on June 8, 2014 in Manchester, Tennessee. Hale picked up and befriended Mrs. Hyder, 37, outside the liquor store where she worked. Mrs. Hyder, who had ovarian cancer and was a mother of 6, was separated from her husband. But she was still close to her ex and called him asking for a lift on June 8. Tragically, she accepted the lift from Hale instead before her former partner, who was some distance away, arrived. Becker says that the pair went back to Hale's home where they got drunk and had sex. When Hyder fell asleep, Hale launched a horrific machete attack. He repeatedly stabbed Mrs. Hyder, covering the bed and walls in her blood. The sickle then disembodied and decapitated her body, said Becker. Filled with a great sense of pleasure, he took pictures and then began eating body parts. Then he asked his neighbor if he could borrow their digger to bury a body. Cops swooped and discovered the gruesome scene. A few weeks later, Hale pleaded guilty to first-degree murder. There were fears Hale could have become a serial killer. One psychiatrist said Hale was in the beginning stages of learning to kill. If he'd not been caught, they were certain he would have killed more people. True Crime Stories Volume 1, 12 Terrifying True Crime Murder Cases by Ryan Becker is out now.